So many Americans are feeling like nothing that they do matters anymore. And there's a real historical pattern behind that. Throughout history, whenever people repeatedly observed abuses of power without meaningful accountability, like what we're seeing right now in the United States, they started to believe that their actions didn't matter anymore. They started to feel hopeless. This happened in the late Roman Republic, in the US after the collapse of Reconstruction, and in Germany before the rise of Hitler, when many Germans believed that democratic institutions weren't protecting them and that extremist groups were determining political outcomes. Sounds familiar, right? The hopelessness many Americans are feeling today fits into this same well-documented historical pattern. And in neuroscience, we call this learned helplessness. It's what happens when the brain can't spot a connection between effort and outcomes, like in cases of uncontrollable stress and democratic backsliding. And so the brain goes into conservation mode and reduces effort. Research shows that dopamine-driven motivational circuits become less responsive under uncontrollable stress, leading to a reduction in goal-directed behavior and an increase in withdrawal behaviors. In many people, this looks like fatigue, a sense of hopelessness, despair, disengagement, trouble focusing, or feeling disconnected from civic life. But the good news is that there are concrete things that we can do to counteract learned helplessness. The nervous system updates its expectations of the world when it sees a clear connection between effort and outcomes. And the outcomes don't have to be large. Small actions that lead to concrete outcomes create a simple association in the brain that says, I did something, and something meaningful happened. That association interrupts the internal motivational shutdown process in our brains that characterizes learned helplessness. So this week, I want you to take some time to choose one small action that you can actually complete and observe the outcome. Like dropping off food or toiletries at a local pantry and literally watching the shelves fill. Or sharing or boosting a local organizer's social media post and watching the share count climb. Or contributing to a verified mutual aid fund or a local cause and seeing the fundraising total increase. Each of these actions creates that simple but important association in our brain that says, I did something and something meaningful happened. And that association is often all the brain needs to remember that we still have the ability to make change in the world, even in a moment when our government is working very hard to convince us otherwise. And if you want a deeper dive into this with the research and references, head over to my Substack. The link is in my bio.